What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having an amazing week. Start to your week as always. Warning, before this video starts, this is going to be extremely real. You're not going to see it on television. You're definitely not going to see it on the social media, search engines, or featured news section. But this is a very honest talk that needs to be had with all the racial discussion. Of course, everybody, till the end of time, we're going to fight over our skin pigment. We're going to fight over ethnicity. We're going to fight over religion. Apparently, that's what humans do, and I guess that's all good and fine. But I'm here to raise a very, very important question that I think I know the answer to, and that is, do white liberals like Jack of Twitter and the feminists and super ultra liberal guys who run Facebook, Twitter, and Google and all the tech companies, my question, my honest, integrity-driven journalistic question is, do white liberals like Jack from Twitter, do they purposely want to hold the black community down? Are they trying to hold black people down? Are they trying to hold Latinos down? Are they trying to hold women down? And if they're not purposely trying to do it, is what they're doing actually holding the black community down? Because white liberals like Jack, they pose as these, I'm the social justice hero and I'm going to save the black community, with ridiculously biased, lopsided, and a lot of times very racist and negative, fear-driven and hate-driven and also weakness-driven news. They love weakness. They love to make you weak and then act like you need their help. So that's my question today. We're going to wait about a minute or 2 minutes for everyone to get into the live stream, but I think the black community deserves to hear this. I think the Latino community deserves to hear this. I think the American community deserves to hear this. I think the LGBT community should hear this, and I also think the women's rights movement should hear this and consider what I'm saying. Regardless of your political beliefs, regardless of your ethnicity, race, religion, and gender, I'm not here to question that. God bless you. I love you, regardless of your sexual orientation. I'm just here to pose a question that you're not going to see on the tech companies, which is, are white liberals holding black people down? Are white liberals holding Latinos down? And are white liberals holding women down? Let's wait about 30 seconds for everybody to join. As always, thank you guys so much for joining. I'm going to post my links below after I'm done. I have a free email list, takes 5 seconds, a donation link if you'd like to support, and then social media link if you'd like to follow me. Usually I wait about 30 seconds for people to fill up in the live stream. And I'm really excited / irritated / a little bothered today. So I'm going to be very, very high energy. Sometimes I like to calm it down and I like to, not swear or curse or do anything. And other times I like to really bring the heat and bring the energy. And today I'm going to bring the heat and I'm going to bring the energy because I personally, I don't boast about it. You don't see me out about it, but I consider myself an activist. I consider myself a racial and social activist, and I think there's a lot of work that does need to be done racially, socially, religiously, so I'm not afraid. I'm not one to shy away from that. But let's start it off. So Twitter, if you notice, and I'm gonna say white liberals, and I'm not talking about all liberals, but I'm talking about the elite liberals, the ones who own the tech companies, the ones who own the website, the ones who act like they're not racist and everyone else, Trump supporters are racist, Latinos who like Trump are racist, they'll call black people who like Trump Uncle Toms or coons, they'll say some nasty stuff to them, but the white liberal, and there's people that are black and Latino who are the same, but I'm just going to focus on the top guys right now, okay? I'm not hating on all white people, obviously. I'm not hating on all, liberals, obviously. I consider myself a true liberal, so this doesn't come from hate. It doesn't come from negativity. It doesn't come from judging or cornering people. I consider myself a real liberal. I'm, clearly white, part Latino, Polish, Puerto Rican, Italian. If it matters to anybody, I think part Czechoslovakian, possibly something else. But I need to call out my own people, the liberals, the white liberals, the wealthy people who run the tech companies, because I think they're racist and they don't realize that they're racist. Every single post on Twitter, I call it alt-left. If you're going to call the extremists on the right alt-right, I have to call it like I see it. The alt-left runs Twitter. It's the most extremist leftist organization out there. Every single story is a racially driven story. But my problem is I want to empower the black community. I want to empower women. I want to empower the Latino community. But Twitter and the white liberal like Jack of Twitter and the fake feminists, the women who sit behind their little tech boards and they write out all these racial things and say, kill all white people and we love black people and we're helping black people. And I'm no disrespect. I'm not saying not to help black people or, not to talk about inequalities where they exist. But what I am saying is their strategy is to keep the black person down. And I have the perfect examples, and I'm going to expose them, and I'm going to show you exactly how they do it. First of all, the mind is very, very, very important. Let's start on a psychology and a philosophy level. One of the most famous quotes of all time, for a very good reason, because it's true, is give a man a fish, you could feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish, and you can feed him for a lifetime. So this is a philosophy and a psychology that the ultra wealthy, extremist slave master mentality, white liberal, doesn't want to ever talk about, because they don't want to teach people how to fish. I want to teach people how to fish. The black community, Latino community, I'm not talking about literally fishing. I'm talking metaphorically, and I'm not saying I have all the answers. I'm not well off. I come from a hardworking blue-collar family. But teach a man how to fish and feed him for a lifetime. Don't just throw a man a fish. Don't throw the black community fish and women's fish and tell them all the time, you're down, you're never going to make it in America, you're a minority, you're not good enough, you need our help, you need the liberals' help. We're going to help you, we're going to help you, we're going to help you, we're going to help you. You're not, this is that. And they constantly hit you with negativity and fear. So if you're a black man in America, if you're a black woman or a black child in America, and you log into Twitter, the message you are getting from ultra liberal slave master Jack is you're at a major, major disadvantage, which is true to pretty much anybody that's not at the top of the pyramid. Spoiler alert, if you're not one of the ultra rich families, or you don't have connections or $1 million sitting waiting for you, you're at a massive disadvantage, because the entire world is run by, a Federal Reserve banking system. The people on Wall Street make multi-millions of dollars manipulating currencies and money and buying and selling. So if you're a hardworking person or come from a humble family, spoiler alert, yes, the whole world is absolutely rigged against you. But they want to keep you in that mindset, because if you believe you're weak, if you believe you're the person that Jack tells you are, and Facebook tells you are, and Google tells you are, you will grow up to be that person. If I believed who they told me I was, I wouldn't be here. The reason I am here is because I'm mentally strong, and I've had 10 years of struggles, and I've had to, be treated like the slave. People say, sit in the desk, you're not good enough. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there, I know I could outperform the whole company times 5. So I had to mentally, before I got to where I am spiritually and physically, you have to mentally get there. The mind is the most powerful thing on earth. Your brain is a supercomputer that can change your whole life, no matter how smart you are, no matter how many books you read and whatnot. Your mindset is everything. And the white slave master Jack type liberal, they don't want you to have a healthy mindset. They don't want you to have an uplifting and positive mindset. They want you to have a weakness mindset, so they continue to just throw you fish every day and say, oh, we'll help you, we'll help you, we'll help you. I know this is the case because I have friends, I'm very blessed, who are very good people. They run an organization where they raise hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not close to $1 million, to build an empowerment center in Watts, California. Watts is near Compton. It's an area that desperately needs some help and some better education and some good mentors. And I've been down there personally before to, talk and play with the kids and have a good time and whatnot. So I know it's a really, really beneficial program, and it's something in the Watts community that is super beneficial. So it was going to go under. They were going to lose the center, and the Kardashians actually helped save it. They promoted it. A lot of people promoted it. A lot of people gave money. It was on KTLA. It was all over the radio stations here, and we hit the goal. My friends, it's called Red Eye Organization. They hit the goal to build an empowerment center and keep the center rebranded in Watts. So 2 days ago, and I'm going to get to where I'm getting with the Twitter stuff, because something huge happened. Twitter doesn't talk about it, and then they put out this racial activist news because they don't actually want to help the black community. They want to weaken the black community, and they don't want the black community to know where the resources are. That's not part of their agenda. So Watts Empowerment Center opens in Watts, California. The Kardashians are there. They donate computers. So there's a whole organization right now. There's a whole facility in Watts where there's computers donated by the Kardashians. There's a whole organization run by Red Eye, which does a brilliant, brilliant job all over Los Angeles to help impoverished people or anybody who needs help. So I log into Twitter the same day, within 24 hours, that I know personally, because I have friends that are there. I couldn't make it. I didn't wake up in time, and I didn't know it was there. I would have been there in the flesh. But the Kardashians are there donating their money and donating computers to Watts, California. What is Twitter? What's the featured Twitter story about Kim Kardashian? I have it pulled up right here. It says, Kim K's KKW concealers are being called out for limited shade range. So this is on Twitter the same day that Kim Kardashian donates computers and helps save a facility so that kids in Watts, California can have the resources, technology, and tools that any kid could want. Everything in the world that even, certain people I know never grew up with. Twitter does not feature it. They say Kim's new concealers don't have, they're calling Kim Kardashian racist. This is the whole thing. I'll read you what it says. Kim Kardashian's West's new concealer line hasn't even dropped yet, but people are dragging the previews for not being inclusive enough. So Kim K is not inclusive enough. Even though she's donating computers to Watts, California, they're talking about her shade of concealer that she dropped doesn't have black enough shades. Even though the campaign features a diverse cast of models, itself has 16 shades, the vast majority appearing to be for lighter skin tones. So this is the type of news that Twitter revels in. You have to understand, Twitter and the white liberal, the slave master white liberal like Jack, they don't want to help the black community. They don't want to focus on the positive. They don't want you to be mentally healthy. They don't want you to know where the resources are. They want you to be poor. They want you to be weak. They want you to be outraged over limited shades of Kim Kardashian's KKW concealers. Like, that's the big scoop story, saying even though she has 16 shades, even though she has a bunch of black actresses, it's not enough. Kim Kardashian's racist. It's concealers, Twitter, ultra feminists, whoever runs the news section. She literally within the same day donated computers and helped, spend tens of thousands of dollars to give to kids in Watts, California. Why is that not the feature story? She's literally, physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially helping the black community in California. And your story is telling little black kids about concealer, that her concealer doesn't have a black enough shade. Excuse me, there's 10 million types of shade and concealers that everyone doesn't have to wear. If this one doesn't have a dark enough shade, I'm sure her or Kylie or one of the other sisters has 10 million types of shade that will, suffice for a very dark-skinned child. So these are the type of games they play every single day. And I have 3 more screenshots that I took from the past 24 hours because they are pumping the racial division agenda. They don't want races to be united in America. They don't want to tell you that the poor black person is no different from the poor white person. I grew up from a working class family. My parents worked very hard doing all sorts of jobs, physical labor. My grandparents worked in factories, and I could tell growing up, although I'm blessed because my mom worked hard and was, nice enough to bring me to somewhere that was safe and try to get me in the best schools possible. That's my mom. It has nothing to do with my skin color. It's the fact that she wanted to do that, and that was her number one priority. God bless her for that. But they don't care about the poor white person just like they don't care about the poor black person. And the poor white person tends to lean towards Trump because he's speaking to them, and they've been getting stomped on by the system. They get stomped on by white slave master liberals like Jack. Jack will say, it's all white people's fault. Let's take from the white people, give to the black people. Let's give to the black people. Meanwhile, they never feature actual empowerment stories to the black community. It's all negative stories to mess with their minds, to make them weak. To be concerned about Kim Kardashian's concealer. Her concealer's not inclusive enough, yet they're nowhere to be found when she's in Watts, California, giving, dozens of computers to the kids there in an empowerment center that's, open 7 days a week. I don't know exactly, their hours or their structure yet of how they're doing business. It's a nonprofit, not that they're making money off it, but it's open to the community. Twitter will never feature a story like that because they don't want the black kids in Watts and Compton to know that there's an empowerment center for them to get help. They would rather you be mad over a concealer that doesn't matter. Little kids should not even be wearing makeup. Makeup is super overrated. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. All they do in the makeup industry is tell you you're not beautiful enough, tell you got to be darker or lighter, or you got to have this shade or this shade. It's a whole scam industry. The whole makeup industry is a scam, but that's what the white liberal focuses on. They put a microscope on something that doesn't matter. They divide people. They don't want to tell poor white people and poor black people and middle-class white people and middle-class black people and wealthy black people and wealthy white people, people like Diddy who have more money than I'll probably ever have. They don't want to tell people that there's not really a difference. Everybody wants the same things, a family, you know what I'm saying, love, peace, safety. These are things that all people want, but they don't want to tell you that. The white slave master liberal like Jack, they revel in nonsensical shade of skin. It's not inclusive enough. They revel in the division. They revel in putting black people and Latino people and women down here, putting themselves up here. So you got to think mentally or psychologically, what does that do? When the white liberal comes in and they tell you right off the bat, I'm up here, I'm the white liberal, I'm rich, I'm successful. First of all, there's tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of white people that are not that rich. So when you put all white people on that pedestal, the white liberal never seems to understand everybody is not that rich. Every white person is not as privileged as you. You don't have to hate other people of the same skin color as you just because you're wealthy. Help the black community. Help the Latino community. Help the poor white people, but don't take everybody up here and say, we're the white people and we're doing so much better than you, because it's just you, Jack. It's not all white people. That's why everybody hates you in America, and that's why Trump won, because most white people are poor. It's a small elite class like you who's become delusional, who just lie and make up stuff and pat each other on the backs and rape girls and then say, oh, I'm not a rapist, everyone else is rapist. That's literally what the entertainment industry does. So the white liberal says, I'm here, we're all here, even though it's not everybody, it's just them and their friends. They say, I'm here, you're here, let me help you up. So they're setting the stage. The white slave master liberal loves to set the stage. That's the stage that they always set. I'm here, you're here. You have to understand, in spirituality and most of Eastern philosophy and a lot of Western philosophy and a lot of religions, the spirituality and the mental state of a person will change or decide their entire future. So to set the stage like that, it might seem like they're trying to help, although I just told you that they're not, because they're going to talk about skin color, they're going to talk about shade instead of the fact that there's somebody donating tens of thousands of dollars and putting computers in certain cities. So they don't want to tell you where the goods are at. They set the stage so you continue to run in that lifestyle. I don't know if they know they're doing that. I think they're trying to be they're helping. They think they're good people. I'm not really sure. Just in the last 24 hours, same on here, they have Diddy saying, I don't believe in passiveness. At some point, there has to be some kind of fight. I feel like we've done a lot of marching. It's time to start charging. So within the past 24 hours, there were 3 other racially divisive stories, one featuring Diddy saying, we have to stop marching, we need to start charging. So they're basically calling for violence. The rich white slave master liberal is trying to, once again, like always, use the black community as their activist pawns. So why are they featuring Diddy? Do they really want the black community doing well? Is the black community doing well? Are they doing better? What are the true statistics? We're never going to know, because the white liberal constantly uses the black person as a pawn in their little chess game, where they're the ultra wealthy. You can never be as good as them. You can never be as rich or successful as them. They always need to help you, even if you're Diddy and you have 10 times as much money as them. But that's the message they put out today. We have to start charging, calling for physical violence from the black community. Am I a supporter of the black community, of black activism? Totally. But just like Malcolm X said, beware when you're being manipulated of the white community. I have a lot more respect for black leaders, like someone like a Dick Gregory. Although they talk about racial inequality and stuff, they're also feeding their people knowledge and wisdom. And even people get upset with me because he says some mean things sometimes. But even Louis Farrakhan, I have more respect for Louis Farrakhan and I have more respect for Dick Gregory than I have for 99.9% of these liberals who manipulate the black community. At least if you're going to preach some message of hate sometimes, at least feed people with health information, tell them about health, tell them about wisdom, tell them about knowledge, empower people mentally, not just, give us your taxes and let us preach to you and we'll make you a good person. So this is what they're doing. These are the games that they play. So Diddy's saying we need to charge. Unfortunately, I agree when it comes to activism. Yeah, you need to charge, but who are we going to charge for Diddy? I have some friends that are mutually friends with Diddy. Maybe I'll talk to them. Maybe I'll have a sit-down chat with them, try to talk to Diddy or talk to an affiliate, because I have love for the movement. I'm just afraid that they're going to be used by the liberals. So yeah, we're going to start charging. What are you charging for? Are you charging for the Democratic Party? That's not going to help. Are you charging for Twitter because they featured your story? Is that who you're fighting for? Because you're not going to fight for your own people when you're constantly being endorsed and supported by the same people that are holding you down, the same people that want you to look at a concealer more than the fact that there's dozens of computers available for the children. They don't want to empower people. I'm sorry. Within 24 hours, they always find the negative, divisive story. And Diddy, people like you are next because you're a man, so you're never going to be low enough on the oppression scale. It might help you now, it might help me now or somebody else now based on religion or gender, but Jimmy Kimmel's next, and then the white woman's next, and then the black man's next. They have a chopping block where they want to just throw everybody in these little boxes instead of letting you become who you truly are and be powerful and be an individual. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to act a certain way if you're black or you're white. Do what you love. If you like a certain type of music or a certain type of hobby or a certain type of sport, who is Twitter and who are the people to tell you that's what you're supposed to do based on your skin color? It's all a trap. Another featured story today is a black boy in the U.S. will never earn as much as a white one with the same background, study shows. And they have a picture of a blonde white woman on the front. So there's a study. Who knows how many people they asked? Who knows what the context was? Maybe they asked 100 people. Maybe they asked 1,000 people. But this is within 24 hours. This is what Twitter puts out. They tell the black community, we need to start charging. We got to stop marching. We got to start charging. A black boy in the U.S. will never earn as much as a white one with the same background the study shows. Well, my two eyes show me, there's many professions where there are black people making the same amount or making more money than the white person. Take, the entertainment industry, the music industry, the sports industry. Why are black people making more than white people in those industries? Is it because those industries are racist and they favor black people? No, it's because black people are better at certain things and they're making better music and they're, playing better at certain sports. So that's why they get paid more. LeBron James doesn't get paid more because he's a man. The NBA doesn't get paid more than the WNBA because men are sexist and, women are. It's because men playing basketball just so happens to be more entertaining than women playing basketball because they're more physically dominant. So, these are the games that they play. I'm about to read you another one from today. They are just nonstop slave mastering. They want to control the women. They want to control the black community. They want to control the white community. Here's another bombshell feature from Twitter. They're just brainwashing our kids with the most insane, negative outlook, mentally unhealthy. They tell kids every day, pills are great, be depressed and take pills. You're not good enough. You're never going to be as good as the white man. If you're white, you should hate yourself. If you're a rich white guy, you should blame all poor white people. That's what they do. It's not when Dick Gregory or somebody else talks, a black leader that actually has some common sense and integrity and truth, that when they talk about white people, it doesn't offend me. First of all, I don't go by any certain labels, so, that's for the birds and that's for other people to judge me. But when he talks about white people, it doesn't offend me because guess what? I know he's not talking about me. Dick Gregory says, you're not white unless you could call Wall Street and figure out if the market's going up or down. That's a famous joke he has. He says, you're not white enough if you can't figure out which way the stock market's going. So it doesn't offend me. It doesn't offend me when Louis Farrakhan says something, if he says my religion or my race, because I know I am not the one he's talking about. We're talking about the same people. It's just certain conservatives, many conservatives and many liberals, they like to just take the negative parts of everything and just fight till the end of time, and both sides do it. And that they love to do it. So I don't subscribe to any of that. I listen to the wisdom, I listen to the knowledge, then I leave the rest. But here's another featured story from Twitter because they just can't focus on the good. They don't want to tell the kids where to get the education. They don't want to tell the kids that this is the greatest time to be alive, and if you have a computer or a cell phone, you can literally do anything. I didn't finish college personally. I didn't have any handouts. I was in debt when I did a lot of stuff that I did. I had to pay off college loans, and I didn't have any money or any resources, and I was wondering why there were wealthy people that could spend $100,000 on ads, and I couldn't do anything, and I was always struggling. But I spent 8 years, and I used my cell phone to learn things. They don't want to tell you how powerful a phone and a laptop is. You don't need this brilliant education anymore if you have a cell phone, a laptop, and a decent environment where you can at least escape and get the work done. They don't want to tell Black and Latino kids that. That's why I tell them, you can do it. You are powerful. If you're a king in your mind, you're going to be a king on the ground. If you're weak in your mind, if you're convinced that you can't do it, you're not going to be able to do it. This is the whole philosophy and ideology. This is why I can't get along with the modern day liberal movement. I'm a true liberal at heart. I believe in equality, freedom, all of these things. But I want to empower people mentally. That's my number one goal. I want to spread wisdom and knowledge to people so they can succeed without me. I don't want to control them. I want to give them the tools and let them make their lives. But that is not what people like Twitter and people like Jack, they don't want to do this stuff. They want to do the complete opposite. They want to continue to just throw you nickels and dimes and tell you how much more powerful they are, tell you how much better they are than you. I don't know that Twitter would know what to do with itself if we became equal. We're so equal now, there's definitely a lot of things that we need to work on. There's definitely still poverty and inequality at some levels, but we're so equal, they have to flip the scales the other way. They need to start, now they're persecuting poor white people, blaming them for the stuff that they're doing. That's how backwards they are. It's like they couldn't deal with an equal America. They couldn't deal with a level playing field. They couldn't deal with a better country, because then they would lose their whole narrative. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves. Here's another one from today. If you can't believe that they're doing all this stuff within a couple hours of each other, they are. They say, Martina Navratilova, a tennis player, I guess, Martina Navratilova says she's paid 10 times less than John McEnroe by BBC. Let's repeat that, just in case people didn't follow. Martina Navratilova says she's paid 10 times less than John McEnroe by BBC. The former tennis champion turned commentator told BBC Panorama she was shocked to learn her fellow Wimbledon pundit, John McEnroe, is getting at least 10 times as much pay as she gets from BBC. Let's try to think why she might be getting paid 10 times less than John McEnroe. Well, first of all, John McEnroe is one of the most famous and energetic tennis players of all time. Not only is he one of the most famous and most successful tennis players, he's one of the most entertaining tennis players of all time. He's the most interesting person they've ever had in tennis. He's exciting, he's crazy, he's funny. He's very well known for his energy. Who is Martina Navratilova? Have you ever heard of her? I actually follow tennis. I love women's tennis. I like men's tennis. I've never heard of her. Maybe it's because she's from an older generation. Maybe she was a big deal back then. But maybe you're getting paid less because you're not as good as John McEnroe. You're not as good at tennis. You're not as well known. And you're certainly not as funny or entertaining. So that's why you get paid 10 times less. Why does LeBron James get paid 10 million times more than I do for basketball? Is it because he's black and because the white liberals are racist against me? No. It's because LeBron James is better at basketball. He would get paid more to be a commentator because he's LeBron James. John McEnroe gets paid more by BBC because he's John McEnroe. Who are you? This is how dumb people are. This is what they want our women to think. Oh, I need to get paid as much as that guy just because I'm a woman. You're not as good as him. You're not as funny as him. You're not as entertaining as him. You're not as energetic as him. You're not going to bring as much revenue for the company as him. That's why you're getting paid less. This type of fake equality is what the white liberal revels in. They want to make everything communist and socialist. I'm not saying that to reach. That's their dream, is to have everyone doing the same thing, getting paid the same exact money, having no innovation, having no incentive, and I'm convinced that capitalist is truly flawed. I don't think it's a perfect system, but there's never been inventions from a socialist or a communist area. There's never been any sort of invention that we use. There's a reason, because capitalism breeds innovation. A free society breeds innovation. When you have an enslaved communist society where everything is equal, they take all your taxes and the big guy at the top becomes a dictator. No one does anything but starts killing each other. Now there's poor. Now people can't buy water. Now there's mass poverty. Communism doesn't work, and this is what people like Jack want. They want a complete equal. Oh, well, I'm a woman, so I must get paid just as much as the male for doing this thing. There's levels to how much people get paid at sports announcement, for a sports announcement job, based on how relevant the person is. How many people want to watch that person? How entertaining are you? So It's just disgusting to me. A no-name person that no one's ever heard of, and John McEnroe, the most famous and successful and energetic tennis player of all, who's been in multiple movies, who's, very well loved and very well known, maybe that's why he's making 10 times as much. They're going to literally destroy the entire society just to make everything equal. They want to ruin everyone's life, and they don't want to empower black kids. They don't want to empower Latino kids. They don't want to empower white kids. They actually want to ruin white kids' life. I'm not making it up. You could say that, conservatives maybe are heartless to the other side and that they don't pay attention to inequalities enough, and we could have a debate. I would love to have a debate. I would love to have a liberal or a progressive debate me on racial topics, because I'm very well versed and I'm very well studied, and I've written papers on racial inequality in the prison system. So I'm not someone who thinks that there is no such thing as strife and there is no such thing as history. I'm very, very well aware of it. But my thing is, how do we make it better? How do we make it right? And how do we make it worse? You make it better by physically doing something, by going to these communities and giving them tools, teaching them things, playing with them, learning with them. You don't do it by ignoring that and then demonizing, trying to say the same person who's doing that, the same person who's going to these communities, who's giving them computers and who's giving them their time and their resources and their money and their education, then slandering them because they have a makeup line that doesn't have a diverse enough cast of 16 models, and there's a little kid for H&M who's wearing a shirt and it offends you. That's not going to help anything. That's some petty shit. I'm sorry. It's some weak shit. This Twitter shit is some weak shit. And I say this with so much passion because I do care about impoverished communities. I care about poor white people. I care about poor black people. I care about poor Latino people. And people like this, they don't actually care about solving anything. They want their narrative. Their narrative is, if you're black, you're weaker than the white liberal. If you're a woman, you're perfect and you can't do any wrong, and you should make as much or more than a guy no matter what you do, no matter how famous you are, no matter how much relevant or how much economics goes into it. That's the message they want. You're equal. You're the best. You're so equal. You're equal, equal, equal. You can't just be equal and be yourself. You have to be another person. I talk to girls out here and they say, I hate the Me Too movement. They're telling me to be a man, and I don't want to be a man. I want to be a woman and do what a woman does. I'm not saying you can't work in tech. I have a friend who's a woman who works in tech. Guess why she works in tech? Because she wants to work in tech. She loves it. Everyone's nice to her. She's one of the only women there. And she has a great time because she chose to be in tech. Not because someone forced her in tech and said, you're a woman, we need 50% women here. And women need to make more money regardless of what they do. This is what the white liberal does. And I call them the slave master white liberal as a challenge. Let's have a debate. Is there any liberal or progressive out there who disagrees with this statement? Anything that I've said this whole time that has a decent platform that's comparable, that wants to debate? We could raise money, we could not raise money, we could just talk, have a podcast. I'm ready to go, but I fail to realize how this type of fake activism, the putting a microscope on things that don't matter and completely ignoring all of the good in the world, because there is a lot of good, and out here I know multiple organizations who do 50,000 times as much as all of them, and they don't want to talk about them. It doesn't get as many clicks. They have literally turned our kids and turned our adults into weak-minded people who sit there and then they rape you for advertising revenue. So maybe empowering the community doesn't get as many clicks for Twitter. So, keeping like thousands of 17 and 18-year-old girls and, millions of young kids in their 20s, keeping them mad and, oh man, Kim Kardashian, her shade of color, oh man, I'm a woman and I'm mad. Maybe that gets more clicks. So, it's a whole self-fulfilling prophecy. They keep women weak. They keep the black and Latino communities weak. They keep white people weak just where they want them. Poor white people, let's pretend like they don't exist and let's blame them for all the stuff that we're doing. Then they could sell more pharmacy pills to people, and then they advertise pills are really, really good, and it's definitely the cure. No matter what you have, just take pills. I'm not making this stuff up. This is what Twitter does. I take screenshots of Twitter almost every day because they have the most fanatical, ridiculous news. And the one that really bothered me on top of all of them was the fact I knew Kim Kardashian and her entire family were in Watts donating computers to the kids of that community. And meanwhile, Twitter is on their feature news slandering the Kardashians, saying that they're racist because they didn't use enough black enough models, and they had 16 models, and half of them were black, but they weren't black enough for Twitter. So they're calling her racist as she's literally in a community doing what fake white slave master liberals never do, which is actually helping the community and actually going there and giving them computers and giving them tools. These are the things that will actually help. And while they're doing that, they're on Twitter slandering them and calling them racist, just like they do Trump all the time. I'm not saying that Trump and Kardashians are comparable. I'm not saying that they don't make mistakes. But there's a reason they want you to think that they're racist all the time. It's not because they're going to stop them. Oh, Twitter stopped Donald Trump and Kim Kardashian from being racist. Now she has more shades of skin in her new concealer range. And all black people and all Latino people have been rescued from poverty because Kim Kardashian's new concealer line now has a darker shade of black. I mean, this is so pathetic. Does anyone actually believe that, or does this just get clicks? I'm tired of it because I actually want to help people. I actually want to find solutions, and I'm not convinced the white liberal, and I'm just using the identity politics against them for this one, video. I don't talk about it very much, and I don't like to label people, but I'm not talking about all liberals. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about the white slave master liberal that always puts a microscope on the things like shades of makeup and the fact that an irrelevant older woman tennis player that nobody knows or cares about is making 10 times less than John McEnroe. Obviously, she should probably be making 100 times less. She's lucky that she's even making 10 times less, I'm sure. And she wants more. I'm a woman. Twitter told me I'm a woman. I came for my free stuff. Meanwhile, women get away with anything. Women can do anything at jobs. It's women who get away with more with men. In relationships and with guys, it's women who are easy to manipulate because men are dumb when they like a girl. And I think most women know that. And I'm not knocking it. I'm not hating it. We're different genders, which is fine. I'm not saying one's better or one's worse. I'm saying that arguably or debatably, women are more powerful than men. And it's not a bad thing. I'm not crying about it, but it's debatable that women are weaker. I think sometimes women are stronger and can get away with even more than a guy could ever fathom of getting away with or doing, which is, there's pros and cons to everything. There's pros and cons of, each ethnicity. If you really want to look at it at a structural level, it's like, oh, they do this better, we do this better. We do this better, they do this better. That's the great thing about multiculturalism. My favorite thing about it, besides, other things, is that you learn from everybody. 50 years ago, everybody was probably eating hamburgers and hot dogs. Now, you go in the streets and we have good music, and people understand Jamaican culture, and people understand Greek culture, and people understand French culture. And, we all listen to each other's music, and we all eat each other's food, and we all learn each other's cultures. And you realize, you talk to an African family, and you talk to a European family, and you talk to an American family, and you talk to a Mexican family, and you talk to a Brazilian family, and albeit there's the identity politics of like, oh, I think I'm better than you because that's how I've been told to be nationalistic. It's the same thing. Everybody eats. You can go to 50 different cultures and everybody's eating meat, rice, and beans. You know what I'm saying? You go to the Asian cultures, they're all eating the same thing and cooking them in different ways. That we all believe the same philosophies. We've just shared them in different ways. We've shared our knowledge and wisdom in different ways, and that's fine. That's the great thing about multiculturalism, is we're supposed to learn from each other and grow from each other, but that is what the white liberal does not want to do. They want to force multiculturalism in a way that pisses everybody off. It pisses off the black community, they piss off the white community, they piss off the Latino community, they piss everyone off. They forcefully have to force their way in. Women need to do this, men need to do this, black people need to do this. He can't wear that shirt, he should wear that shirt. That shouldn't be the concealer, this should be the concealer. They shouldn't have this makeup. This is bad for black people. Shut up, white liberal. Shut up, white feminist. Okay, you're annoying. Nobody wants to listen to you, and you're totally fake. You don't want the betterment for any community. Certainly not white people. You hate yourself so much for being born wealthy that you think all white people were born wealthy. Spoiler alert. Millions of white people are poor. Statistics have showed that while black and Latino health is on the incline since the 70s, white health is on the decline. Do you know why? Because of slave master white liberals who hate themselves because they were born wealthy. Congratulations, your parents had $10 million and half of America wasn't wealthy. Okay, that's not the poor white person's fault that you were born wealthy and you feel guilty, so you hate yourself and you hate other white people. That's not white people's fault. Just like it's not black people's fault, Latinos people's fault, Don't hold it against everyone else because you were born with all the gold, okay? Share it with the white people if you want. Share it with the Latino. Share it with the black people. Share it with whoever you want. But don't start attacking poor people of your same skin color just because you think that you're privileged because you were born with a silver spoon in your hands. And that's what most of these white liberals do. And I say this because I actually care about people. I want to see women succeed. I want to see the black community succeed. I want to see Latinos succeed. I want to see white people succeed. I want to see Asians succeed, even though nobody cares about Asians, and now they're getting blamed for white supremacy because they work really hard and have a good family structure. Now everything's their fault because they came from communist China, worked really, really hard, studied really, really hard, took sacrifices that most people will never take to get to the position they are, and now white liberals are now blaming Asian people who've escaped a communist regime, worked their asses off, and now it's the Asians' fault for white supremacy. I care about Indian people. I care about the millions of Indian people that the media never talks about. The Hindus that don't exist in the media. It's the Muslims and the white people. Muslims are great. Everything they do is perfect. And white people are terrible. It's all their fault. This is what the liberal media says. I know that there's millions of Indian people who don't feel that way. I know that there's millions of Asian people who don't feel that way. I know that there's millions of white people who don't feel that way. I know that there's millions of black people who don't feel that way. I know that there's millions of Latino people who don't feel that way. I know it because I talk to them in person every single day. I get messages from them every single day, and I'm connected to the people on a real level. So I know that's not how people feel, but the white liberal wants to keep their mental shackles on everybody. And it's stories like this. It's highlighting stories like this and silencing the stories. Silence the empowering stories. Don't give them health. Don't give them education. Don't give them wisdom. Don't give them knowledge. Don't give them hope. Don't give them mental empowerment. Don't give them spiritual empowerment. Don't give them a family structure that will help them. Don't give them safety. Don't give them security. Give them excuses. Give them weakness. Give them negativity. Give them fear. Give them hate. This is what the white liberal does. That's all that they are filled of is hate and fear and negativity and inequality in their own minds so that they have to spread it on the whole world. This is the greatest time ever to be a woman. If you make less and you're a woman, maybe it's because you're just not as good at what you do or you're not John McEnroe. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I would love to have a talk about racial inequality. I would love to have a talk about sexual inequality. I'd love to have a talk about race, religion, gender. I don't care. I'm not afraid to touch the topic. I'll talk to any liberal. I'll debate any liberal. Nobody ever, my inquiries are open. I would love to have a debate with any of the top liberals and progressives to see where their head's at, because I truly want to empower everybody's communities. And what they are doing is they are making the black community weaker. They're making Latinos weaker. They're destroying women. I feel so bad for women. It's the same white liberals who sell women makeup. They tell women they're not pretty enough. They tell women they have to do this. They Photoshop every single picture. They lie to people on television every single day. They lie to people on social media every single day. And it's those same white liberals that will then turn around and then pretend like they're going to, oh, I'm going to help you women. I'm going to help you by telling you to be weak and be negative and always demand everything and have no self-accountability and nothing's ever your fault. You deserve equal pay even if you're making 10 times more. These are the same liberals. They shove you down. They feed you with all these sort of products that you don't need. Conservatives do it too. And then they try to sell you the dream. That's communism, folks. That's socialism, folks. Throw everyone in the same bucket. Take all the money. Blame poor white people, and then tell everybody, we're going to make it dead equal. Everyone's going to get the same pay. Everyone's going to have health care, free education. We're going to make everything perfect because we're the white liberal. We can do that. Everything's going to be on a perfect scale for all of our people. But what they really do is destroy every community. They're killing white people every single day. They're structurally and systemically killing white people. Nowadays, there are no racial laws. Are there still some things and inequalities and neighborhoods and certain things to be worked out? Totally. But there's no systemic laws that are racist or sexist anymore. They don't exist because we're a better society than we were 100 years ago. However, there are now systemic things on Twitter and Facebook and Google that are levered. All of the powers that be, mentally and financially, are levered against white people. So it's arguable that the only systemic racism is against white people. It's socially acceptable to hate on white people. You could search. I have a picture of Huffington Post and Variety and Jezebel and all of these feminist things. They have 10,000 hateful journalism on white people, but you can't find that on black people because it doesn't exist, because it's not acceptable. But it is acceptable to hate on yourself if you were born wealthy, blame the poor people, and kill all the poor white people in Central America, and then wonder why they like Trump so much and they don't like you. I wonder why they like Trump. I wonder why Middle America likes Trump so much and doesn't like liberals. Maybe it's because liberals are killing them systemically and using all of their money to try to kill poor white people and not listening to any of their problems and raising their health insurance and just ruining their lives and then being like, I wonder why they don't like me. Maybe because you're the slave master. And then they make women weaker. It's just a fact. That's what they're doing. They're making women weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And for every really great thing that comes out of this ultra-liberal SJW forced equality movement for women, for every one great thing that comes out, there's 50 things that are completely backwards, completely sideways, and they're mentally destroying our women. They don't want women to be women. They don't want women to be themselves. They want to tell women how to be. And last but not least, our black and Latino communities, they don't even talk about black people anymore, only on Twitter when they're like pandering and trying to make everybody hate themselves. But they don't even talk about it because illegals are the new go-to. So if you're a legal Latino who loves the country, you're a bad person. Oh, you like America and you're Latino? Oh, on to the illegals now. Let's flood the black neighborhoods with Latinos, illegal Latinos. I'm sure that's help. Let's take all our legal Latinos and our legal black people who need our help. Let's ignore the fact that there's people helping them and give them computers. Let's talk about shades of concealer, and then let's flood their neighborhoods with illegal Latinos. I'm sure that's going to help the black and Latino community so much because we're the white liberal here to save the day. So they don't even care. They're not helping anybody. I wish they were. I'm sure in some way, one way or another, they're helping somebody. Got to keep it real. Everything works in weird ways, so nothing is absolute. So I'm sure that there are tens of thousands of people hopefully being helped by this. But there are millions of people who are being affected. And all I ask, I'm not saying to not help the black community. Please do. Like I said, that's why I'm frustrated, because I know people are helping the black community and they're not doing it for attention and they're not doing it for shares and likes. They're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And their message is being ignored for concealers. That's classic peak liberalism, modern day liberalism. Everything that they care about doesn't matter. Everything's racist and sexist. Turning a fence into a wall is racist, and concealer is racist, and you're racist, and the lamp is racist, and school is racist, and everything is racist. But actual racism isn't racist. Actual racism is good, and actual empowerment is bad. These are the things that they say, and that's why I'm frustrated. So help anybody you want. Do what you have to do, but don't try to drag everybody down just because you hate yourself. Don't try to drag everybody down because you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth and you think that everybody with your skin color was born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You can't drag everyone down to lift everyone up. That's socialism, that's communist. It never works, it never innovates, it only kills people. Don't drag people down. Lift the black community up. Lift the Latino community up. Lift the white community up. Lift the women community up. Tell them nice things, but don't be too nice to them. Don't lie to them. Don't tell them no matter what they do, they should make as much money. That's not how the world works. You have to work hard. You have to struggle. But spoiler alert, struggling in the United States is the cream of the crop. As far as a lot of other countries, we should have better food. We definitely should have better schools and all that stuff. We're weak in a lot of places, but there's a reason that people come from South America and Central America and certain parts of the world. They always want to come to the America because even if you're struggling in America, you're doing better than 70% of the entire world. Just living in America and being poor in America, you are rich on a worldwide scale. You have water and housing and shelter that billions of people don't have. You have clean sanitation that 3-4 billion people don't have. So they don't want you to have an optimistic, healthy outlook on the world. Yes, things could be better, but yes, you need to have self-accountability and self-awareness. And the black community and the Latino community and the white community, the government's not going to save us. We don't need all these things from the government all the time. If we can get a little handout here or there, why not? But to be honest, it's going to take our own communities, it's going to take our own families, and it's going to take our own self to fix the community, if you really want to fix certain cities and certain areas, whether it's black, white, Latino, Asian, Indian, I don't care, it's not going to be an outside looking inward sort of thing. That's the whole philosophy of give someone a fish, you'll feed them for a day. And what liberals have been doing structurally is just giving people fish for 50 plus years and tanking everyone else while not even helping. There's been no incline in certain areas. In other areas, we've been crushing it because we always get better. But we need to teach people, give people the tools, and not let everyone, all communities, use excuses and look towards the government for help all the time, because it's not a long-term strategy. And I believe in women, I believe in every community, and I know that everyone has the tools and the intelligence and, to get things done. But I'm thinking long-term, and I just have to be honest, I'm very, very, frustrated because I see them calling someone that I know is physically in the flesh out there really helping the community, and they're on Twitter calling them racist. So that's why I came with this, and it was just nonstop negative, racist, sexist. My question is, does liberal media, do they really care, or are they trying to tank the black community? Are they trying to tank the Latino community? Are they trying to tank the American white family? Are they trying to tank the Asians and tank the Indians and tank whoever you are, the Greek, the Italians, the Irish, whatever, I don't care. And if they're not trying to, regardless of what their intentions are, what's the truth of what they're doing? Because half of them, I think they are just kind of a little bit evil inside, and they're negative and they're nasty, and that they know what they're truly doing, have a few drinks in them and they spout out all this evil stuff and you're like, what the heck? Or they have no idea what they're doing, they think they're helping, and they're not. But that's why we need debates. That's why everything that I say, I'm willing to put it on a public platform. Let's speak about it. Let's talk about it. Question me all you want. That's why I'm questioning them. So I would love to have a debate with someone, because you can't just close your eyes and resist Trump. And that's how you become the slave master. That's how you really damage all of these communities that you're actually trying to help. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate you joining. I'll be back with some more calm newscasts. This is not one of them, though. This is racial activism. This is something that I'm very, very passionate about. And when I see social media calling people racist that are literally there in the flesh, in the communities, donating computers and doing stuff that actually is going to help, and then they're focused on their shade of concealer and the fact that a non-relevant, old woman tennis player is not making as much as John McEnroe, the most famous and energetic tennis player of all time, and them continue to tank on certain families that aren't wealthy. It really, really bothers me, because I see systemically they're trying to tank America, and they're trying to tank all of our communities, and they need to be called out. They need to be questioned. They need to be confronted, because the delusion is getting out of effing control. This is why Trump won. This is why so many people are upset. And if we really want a united America, if we want to all come together and all believe our own little things, it's not going to help with this type of stuff. And I'm not saying that conservatives help all the time too. They're equally as divisive, and people every single day fight over things that don't matter and yell at certain people. You don't see me do that. I'm not speaking, on behalf of that either. I'm just doing my part. So I'm willing to take that jump. Who's with me? Thank you guys so much. Have a good week. I'm going to post my links below if you'd like to support. That's why I'm able to be here and put out so much content. If you would like to sign up for my email list, please do. It's free. It takes 10 seconds, and we can stay connected. And then I'll post my social media links as well. Thank you so much for joining. I'll probably be back later today. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. God bless the universe. God bless us all. Thank you, guys.